Hey guys, in today's video we're going to dive into QuickBooks Online and show you how to enter and pay bills using QuickBooks Online. If you're new to QBO, consider picking up a copy of my latest book, The Small Business Guide to QuickBooks Online, which can be found on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description down below. So most companies do a great job of tracking revenue, but a very poor job of tracking expenses. There are two ways to increase the bottom line. First, you can increase revenue, or you can decrease your expenses. Most companies only look at cutting expenses when their business hits a downturn. Typically, this is done too late. Knowing where your money is going is just as important as understanding where your revenue is coming from. In today's video, we'll be covering three topics. First, how to enter bills into QBO. Next, how to pay the bills. And finally, how to set up reoccurring bills. Alright guys, let's go ahead and jump into the software and get started. Alright guys, so now we're in Craig's Design and Landscape Service. We're going to show you how to enter bills, how to pay bills, and then how to set up reoccurring transactions using QuickBooks Online. So from the dashboard, we're going to select the New button, and then we're going to select the Bill option under the vendors column. And here we're going to fill out each option the best to our ability. So typically it's the best idea if you have the invoice in front of you, which you've received, to go ahead and fill out this information. So for the vendor, if the vendor's already added, you can just select them, or if it's a new vendor, you can select add new and then fill in their information. For this example, we're going to use Hall Properties. We're going to do a rent invoice. So we're going to say it's a net 30, and let's say it was received on September 15th. So it automatically sets up the due date 30 days from the date of the bill. So of course you can set up, let's go through each one of these real quick. So the mailing address will go ahead and be populated if you set it up with the vendor. It can always be adjusted. If you wanted to add something, say we wanted to add a Hall Properties LLC here, you can go ahead and adjust that if you need to, or if you wanted to make it to somebody's attention or something, you could always do that. The terms, if this should be on the invoice. If it's not, you want to just kind of back up to when you want to pay the bill. So like for this example, we're gonna do net 30. So it's due 30 days from the date from the date the bill was issued. So that's why we're going back a few days, and we're saying that this bill was issued on September 15th, even though we probably received it maybe on the 20th. And the due date, this is when we want to pay the invoice by, so we don't receive any late penalties. The billing number, this is going to be the number that's on the invoice. This will be the vendor generated number. So however they do their billing amount, it just makes it easier to search for it if you need to find an invoice later on. So tags, tags they can be used to generate very specific reports, or for certain groups or events. So tags can be used for income, expenses, invoices, and bills. So depending on your industry, tags can be used for certain locations. For example, if you had a location in 2 different states or 2 different cities, and you wanted to be able to run reports based on each location, you could do that through tags. It could also be used for funnels, product lines, customer types, however you want to set it up. For this example, we're not going to enter any tags. Now the category, this is where it's going to show up. The expense is going to show up on your income statement. So for this example, it went ahead and filled it in for rent and lease, which is exactly where I want to put it. So that's where it's going to show up on my income statement. The description, you can of course edit this. We'll put this in as September rent expense. Let's bump this up. No one's paying $900 for rent. We'll do $5,000 is the amount that's off of the invoice. And then billable and taxable. So for billable, if the item was purchased for resale, so if this was inventory, I would select that it's billable. For tax, if the item was purchased for resale again and it is subject to sales tax, then I would select here that it is subject to tax. The customer, if you purchase something for a specific customer, you could go ahead and select that customer here. If you wanted to add a memo or if you wanted to attach a copy of the invoice, you could do that here as well. And that's it. That's how you set up a bill in QuickBooks Online. So let's save and schedule this payment. And this should take us back to the home screen here. So now let's take a look at how we pay the bill. So now the bill is set up in QuickBooks Online. Now how do we pay it? So you want to make sure you go through these steps to pay the invoice. Otherwise, if you just go in and pay it normally or pay it on a credit card or something without going in and entering the payment, it could duplicate the expense, which you do not want to do. So from new, you go back under the vendors column and you select pay bills. And here is a list of all of the bills that have been input. The red exclamation point here notifies you that these bills are past due and need to be paid. Here's that bill that we just input, the Hall Properties, reference number 1234, and it's due on October 15th, and the amount is $5,000. There is no credit being applied, and if we just select that invoice, we can say the payment amount is going to be the full $5,000. If you're going to pay less, say we wanted to break this up into 2 payments, you could go ahead and adjust this to say $2,500, and then the remainder will still be an outstanding balance. So there you have it. So we want to go ahead and pay that. So we're going to schedule the payment online. So let's save and close that. And there you go. The bill has been marked as paid. Now let's take a look at reoccurring transactions. So these are a little bit different in that you can either set it up a few different ways. So let's just jump in and take a look at it. So you create a reoccurring transaction the same way that you created a bill. So under the vendors column, select bill. But from this screen, we want to come down to the middle section here at the bottom and select this make reoccurring. So now this is going to be a template that you can always adjust, and you can always come back in and change it. But this is great for reoccurring transactions. This means I don't have to go in and create my rent bill every single month. So let's just call this rent expense, and that's what the template is going to be called. And now there's a couple different types of how we want to set this up. So you can either do it as a scheduled payment, as a reminder, or as an unscheduled payment. So for scheduled bills, this is going to be for a fixed amount that we have every month. So rent's a great example for that. It's going to be a fixed amount. We know it's going to be $5,000 every single month, so we can just select schedule. If we know that amount is going to change, or it's it could be, let's say for like a utility bill, it goes up and down a little bit each month. You can just set that as a reminder, and that's what you would use if it's not a fixed amount every month. Or if it's not if it's not going to occur every month, so say something only happens during certain periods of the year, say advertising is a good example, then you would just select unscheduled. But we know that our rent is going to occur every month, unfortunately, so let's go ahead and select scheduled. Create days in advance. These are normally net 30, so we'll create it 30 days in advance from when it's due. Again, you can add a new vendor here if they're not already, but they are already on here. Hall Properties, there they are. And it went ahead and filled out all of the mailing address information. The terms on this bad boy is going to be net 30. It's monthly, and we're going to pay that. Let's see. Yep, on the 15th. Here we go. The 15th day of every month. The start date, it has to be in the future, so let's do 10/15. So October 15th, this will already be in there. We're not going to do tags again, but we are going to add the category. This is going to be rent and lease. Oops, there we go. Rent or lease. The description, this will be our monthly rent expense. And the amount is going to be $5,000. Again, it's not billable, it's not taxable, it's not for a specific customer. So that's it. That's all you need to input, and then we can save that template, and then it will generate the bill each month. So that's it, guys. That's how we set up a bill, that's how we pay a bill, and that's how we set up reoccurring bills using QuickBooks Online. I hope you guys found this video really helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel or hit that like button down below, as that really helps the algorithm of YouTube. It helps other people find these videos. I really appreciate it, guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.